Alright, so I got to rebuild the Nova carb because it's kind of sticking. Not that you can tell with the spring on there, but the carb was sticking, and I just watched the Adam Drake video and he was showing how to fix it, but it's leaking. It's leaking air real bad from in here, so I want to tear it down and see if I can figure out where it's leaking really bad from in here. Because I think what's happened, according to Adam Drake, was he was saying that what happens is when the carburetor is open like this and it takes a hard landing, sometimes this little thing here will be pointed this direction towards the front of the vehicle, towards the differential, and that's exactly the way it was. And he said what happens is that during a hard impact, the little arm in the differential will come into contact with each other, and it'll cause like a burr to occur with the low-speed needle on the inside. So he said you gotta pull this out, you take this apart, you pull this out, and then you attach it to a drill. You pull the little throttle body out, the little arm or whatever, and you attach that to a drill, and then you spin it in here, and you put some oil in it, cleans up the burrs that are apparently in there and causing it to stick. Now, I don't know that that's actually going to fix the air leak issue, but I'm just going to take it one step at a time. So let me get started with that. I'll start with the tear down, and then put it in the drill and cross the fingers and hope for the best. The issue is that this diameter here, the throat carburetor diameter, is too small. It's basically the same diameter as like a .15. So these engines here, this RB Concepts, this is a X15 engine. The throat carburetor diameter on the outside is identical to the Nova. So the .15 carburetor is identical. It's the same size. And it'll fit, but it's not going to supply enough air and fuel because the venturi diameter is too small, and the amount of fuel that it provides is also radically smaller. So I'm left with this option of trying to rebuild this one as opposed to, I guess, just buying another one. So let's get started on that. Just start doing the time lapse and we'll get going. Make sure you use a lint-free cloth, like a shop towel. And yeah, depending on your carburetor, it just depends on whatever tools you need. I'm going to need a 1.5. Take that off, pull that out, and pull that out. That's a 2mm. So you probably have a flathead. But anyway, cross your fingers and hope for the best. Let's get this on a time lapse, and I'll pick up after I tear it down. Okay, so I got the carburetor apart. Let's take a look inside, see if we can see anything. Looks like there might be some scoring right there. Some more scoring right there. It might be where the air leak is coming from, the score marks. It could just be out of circle, perfect circle. So the diameter It's just too big for the whatever you call this thing. Look at that, there's two. Huh, how weird. Well, let's try and clean it off. See what happens. A little bit of dirt, not much. Alright, well. Let's get this thing in the drill. Hopefully I can fit this bad boy in the drill. Should be able to. Put some oil on it. Lube it up, stick it in there, and spin it around. Okay, I managed to get that carb arm in the throttle arm in the drill, just barely. My drill is really too small for it. I don't know if this is really going to work. It's not centered in there either. Oh, that can't be good. If I had a bigger drill, it'd be a lot easier to get it all centered up and stuff, you know? My chuck is too small. It's all wobbly. No bueno. It sucks. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do this, dude. About as straight as I'm going to get it. Okay, so according to Mr. Drake, you just put this thing in there and spin it around. Oh yeah, I can definitely feel a little bit of tension in there. Oh yeah, right there is some tension. So first do it slow, and then, oops, I didn't realize you weren't in this frame. Let me take off the air filter. Yeah, so apparently what you do is you oil up this bad boy here. Put it in those little grooves where the set screw goes for the idle gap. And you put this thing in there. And then you just spin it around. Make sure there's no friction, excessive friction. And once everything feels like it's okay, make sure there's no major burrs in there. Then you can turn your drill on. So let me let me get the air filter off. All right, here we go. So he said what you want to do is you want to start real slow and you turn it in one direction and then you go the other direction. But yeah, I can feel there's a lot of friction right there. And then you just slowly go in and out. Ooh, yeah, there's a lot of friction in there. You see how that? See how it's catching? See, that's supposed to be smooth as can be. There's not supposed to be any catching in there. So he said you go one way and then you go the other way. If I can get this in the shot any better. There we go, look at that. Yeah, you can see how bad that is, man. That's real bad. Oh, man, that's real bad. Look how much it's moving the carburetor. See it shaking back and forth? Shouldn't be doing that. It should be perfectly smooth. Look at that. He said, now you might have to do this a couple times. Clean it off and you should see some deburring coming off in there. A little bit. Move it back up. Try again. Carburetor's bad. It's all jacked up. Hopefully we can get it fixed. Trying to be real gentle with it, you know? There's a little bit of debris, deburring. I could still feel a fair bit of resistance as I try and spin it. But it's definitely getting better. There's a lot of friction in there, right about there on the end. See, there's not any friction right there, but as soon as you start pulling it out, all of a sudden, you see all that friction? It starts making the carburetor jump around. Yeah, I can feel it getting better. Oh yeah, it feels a lot better now. Maybe it will work. Wouldn't that be nice? I guess there's a little bit of black in there. Initially I thought that was just oil, but it looks like it's genuinely, what do you call it? Aluminum from the inside of the carburetor. Yeah, it looks like there's a gouge right there. You see that? Something happened. Well, it is what it is, you know? Try and make it work. Looks like a little bitty thin piece of that carburetor where the idle set screw comes through. Looks like a little piece of that aluminum chipped off. You see that? If I could hold the camera, I mean the stupid thing still. Yeah, there it is. You see that right on the bottom of the threads? Maybe that's what caused the issue. In any event, I think the Drake technique is working, because it does feel a lot smoother in there now. So I'm just going to go ahead and try it again. Just keep on doing it. Hopefully, I don't remember if I cleaned that off or not. Anyway, hopefully it takes care of the issue. Oh, baby, get in there. Oh, my coffee's ready. I gotta go get my coffee. I forgot about my coffee. Ugh. Alright, hold on, I'll be right back. Alright, I got my coffee. It's actually yerba mate. It's just like coffee, but it's got a magnesium molecule in this center, or in the middle of the caffeine molecule. What the hell? Anyway, it's a lot better for you than the I wonder what size venturi that is. I'm gonna have to measure that. I think it says 8. Yeah, it does say 8. 8 millimeter. Huh, alright, whatever. Continue deburring this bad boy. See, it's fine down low, but when you start pulling it to the open, is where it starts to have its issues. Oh, it's getting a lot better. Oh, yeah, it feels a lot better now. Wow, that's amazing. Oh, there it goes. I still got some burring in there. Right there. Let it knock it down. Did I put oil on there? Oh yeah, it's got oil. Feels like it's getting better. Still a little bit of friction. Definitely better than it was though. Still friction right there. See, if it was frictionless, I'd be able to spin like that. See, just drop down. It's getting a lot better. Battery in the drill is dying. If it ain't one thing, it's another, boy, I'll tell you what. That feels a lot better. I think it's fixed. I hope it is. Yeah, it feels all better now. Yeah, look at that. Still a little bit of friction, but it's a lot better than it was. Yeah, there's some deburring going on in there for sure. Looks good to me. Yeah, that thing got cleaned up too. See that? The bottom of the thread, that little hole there, that thing got huge. Before that was just a little crack. That was probably the issue. That little piece of metal there just snapped off. Got loose in there somewhere. No bueno. Oh well, hopefully that fixes it. So I guess put this bad boy back together. And once we get it back together, we just cross our fingers. Everything everything goes well, and there's not even more of an air leak than there was before. You know, 'cause I thought that this would have created an air leak, but apparently not, according to Mr. Drake. This is how you do it. So he's the pro, so I'm gonna listen to him. It's the only option I have. So let me get this thing back together. There we go. And you want to make sure your little groove for your set screw and your idle set screw aligns properly. Alright, and then got a little slag on my O-ring there. Hopefully that didn't create another air leak issue. This carb, boy, I tell you what. Alright. And when you tighten this thing down, you want to make sure and be real careful that you don't score the throttle body arm linkage thing. Make sure it goes in the little slot it was designed for. So you just want to tighten this down real nice and careful. Make sure it's in the slot. That looks like a 1 millimeter gap there. So what I did before is I just went until it stopped, and once it stopped, the factory setting was just back it out 1 full turn. So there it is there. Just spin it around 1 time. There we go. There's back to my stock settings. It should be like a 0.45 or so. Put that thing back on. Make sure you put this back on at the right angle you had it on previously. Mine was just about right there. Just a little bit off of center. It was just a little bit off that direction. I try and line it up as close to center as possible, like that. Make sure it's pushed down all the way before you torque it down. And that's it. There we go. Let's check it. Yeah. Definitely feels better now. No more hanging. Wow, that's amazing. Doesn't feel rough anymore. Put the throttle return spring on and see how it does. Or not. Whoops. Put it on the wrong way. Oh well, whatever. Let's try. Oh yeah. There you go. All better. Wow, that's amazing. Yeah, no more hanging up, no more sticking. Oh wow. It does feel better. Before there was a little bit of play and stuff. Wow, I didn't think that would work. Well, there's only one way to see if it'll really work. Put it back on the car. So tomorrow. Man, I got the smallest little idle gap right there. I might need to increase that just a tad. So I increased my idle gap by a quarter of a turn. That'll give me at least, 0.4 to 0.5 millimeter right there. That should be good. Alright, well, hopefully that was a success. Anyway, appreciate you guys commenting, subscribing. Now I'm just going to put a little zip tie around right here. Hopefully that'll hold it on a little better. The problem with this carburetor is if you look, you can see how it's actually tapered like that way. So when you put the zip tie on, it actually pulls the little boot down off of it, which is not good. And then you'll also see how when I had the spring on there wrong, it was compromising that boot. So you want to watch out for that too. Make sure you got this thing on there right. So you want to try and minimize all that stuff going on right there. Anyway, that's the carb, guys. Hopefully it worked. Thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next one. Later. Later.